Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. It is Sunday. It's time for the closing line and to talk some NFL football. Check out this band of characters today. I'm Donnie. He's Kyle. And oh, yes, the Big Meadow Campus, Jeff Nadeau. Jeff, welcome in.
Great to be with you guys. Thank you for inviting me. I haven't been on these airwaves in a long time, but I'm ready to go. We got NFL Week 2, moving day. We figure out who's real, who's not. I thank you for having me. I look forward to getting into it with both of you.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun today. DFS Bachelor Kyle Purviance is here. Last week, hey, look, man, he's got that background. He's got the chair. He went to Vegas with that. No, he didn't, but he's back in place today.
That's right. Feeling good. Got all that rust off, all that bad juju off. Look, weeks 1 and week 2 are tough. So still, like I tell people, don't go crazy week 2. Week 3, that's when the big mimosas come out. That's when we're ready to party. But I got 7 team totals I'm digging on. We got props for every play, every game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Glad Jeff's in here. This is going to be great.
No, it certainly is going to be a lot of fun to go over. Let's not waste any time today. But before we do that, 89,200 subscribers here on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for all the love and support that you give us here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And then also turn on that notification so when we talk NFL action live, you can come in the chat box and say hello. Also, our Pick 6 contest underway. $50,000 up for grabs. You guessed it, $1,600 per week. I have a 1-game lead on Kyle. My plays are in. We'll review those a little bit later in the show, but it's time to break down each and every – look, Monday, opening line show, preview the card. Thursday, get those pencils out, sharpen it up. Sunday, it's time to get after it. It's time to have some fun here. So let's go. 269, 270. New Orleans and Carolina, Jameis Winston and Sam Darnold. Check out this line, opening up at 3.5 at Pinnacle Offshore. Now we're seeing 3s across the board here, 44.5s to 45s. I have one of my plays of the week here that I locked in the Panthers team total over 17.5 minus 165 at BetMGM. Locked and loaded on that one. Do I think Carolina can win this game? I mean, obviously, it's only a 3-point spread here, Kyle, as we take a look at it here, but a lot of injuries. Down 5 starters, I believe, just on the defense alone for the Saints. Let's go, Panthers. Put up some points, Kyle. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I got to tell you, and this made me feel a whole lot better about my Saints team total over 23.5. That's at minus 130. All of these, by the way, are at BetMGM, and it behooves you. Find one of those books that let you take those alternate totals, right? How fun is that going through and getting the number that you want? I mean, get that done.
Tremendous.
The loss of Marshawn Lattimore is a big loss, and I do think Carolina, if you're playing DFS, there's some value with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson on the outside. I agree. I think Carolina should score. I think the Saints are going to have to score to win this game. Both defenses beat up a little bit. The Saints obviously looked fantastic last week. It's a different cast of characters. I think Ken Crawley is who is going to replace Marshawn Lattimore out there. That is not a good thing for the Saints defense here. So the play that I pulled the trigger on in this game is I took the Saints over 23.5 at minus 130. I think they get to 24 points. In fact, I think they have to win this game. And for the prop bet on this game, look, we talked about all the injuries on the Saints defense. Christian McCaffrey, 9 targets in week 1. I got him over 48.5 receiving yards, minus 125. He might be there by halftime.
All right, let's see what happens here, Jeff. In this game, going up against, I know last week Carolina Panthers played the New York Jets. You so astutely got the 5.5 on the Jets here, cashed in that ticket. But now we're looking for a step up in competition here versus New Orleans. I like New Orleans offense, but that defense looking a little bit vulnerable today, Jeff. What are we thinking today between the Carolina Panthers and those New Orleans Saints?
Yeah, I like their offense too, but I think with the Panthers, are we a little down? I think people are pretty much undervaluing this Panther defense. This group is really solid. I think very young and with it up front. You also look at the fact an injury that we didn't really get into, or you guys didn't get into, Eric McCoy out today for the Saints as well, the center, which that's a big loss. I mean, I think they have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, but when you take one of those pieces out, particularly the center, your cadence is a little different. Maybe things kind of fall apart a little bit more when one guy goes out and you have to have a backup in. Kyle also mentioned you got to start a guy like Ken Crawley, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson also out, depth a little bit shaken at the back. Look, Malcolm Jenkins is an older player. You just don't have much depth in the secondary. If I'm Joe Brady, I'm Matt Rule. We have to attack downfield. We have speed. We have the ability out of the backfield with McCaffrey. I thought this number was kind of where I think it should be. Obviously, the Saints had a great week 1. But again, the only thing I don't like about this game is the quarterback, Sam Darnold. I don't want to back him. But again, you have a different defense now. You have certain people out. I like the Panthers defense. I would much rather have loved to have gotten 3.5, which I took a little shot with here, maybe a 4. But I still think this is a good play on a home dog here. Saints are overvalued after week 1. We will trust long-term Jameis Winston to beat us without his center on the road. Again, a little bit different here. I think the Panthers are up for the challenge. I like that defense.
Yeah, back-to-back road games. Quick little prop bet here. I do think they're going to use Christian McCaffrey a lot like they did game one, and he is healthy. So use him or lose him, as we like to say. Kyle went with a run CMC here. Receptions over 45.5 yards in this game. I think you can get the 50 yards receiving. Any prop bets you get your eye on here?
Yeah, I did the Christian McCaffrey over 48.5 yards receiving. Did you ask me that?
Oh,
I was reading
no, I just had that. Oh, excuse me.
Over 48.5 yards
wrong.
receiving,
yes,
minus 125.
I have terrible handwriting on my prop bets. You are correct. How do you like that? You weren't even paying attention to me as I gave that out. And
Sometimes
then you
it
came over the top and gave the same one out here. Yeah, it's good stuff here. Jeff, by the way, in this game, looking at any props or anything?
I'm not particularly. I'm a guy that's touching. I have some props later in the card, particularly in some of the later games. But yeah, I mean, why tie my money up with props? I know you guys are strong with those. I'll let you, the professionals, deal with those.
That's right. Let the verified people deal with these. Yeah, exactly. Don't let Kyle deal with that stuff right here. But thank you guys so far. 200 people watching already live here in the chat box. 5 minutes into the show. Let's keep on rolling right down the list. Got a lot of games to get to, and a lot of fun to have here. Tyrod Taylor, the quarterback of the year, right? Last week, oh my goodness, they upset. Imagine this. They upset the Jacksonville Jaguars. How crazy does that actually sound? I felt like I was the only one backing the Texans last week, and they rolled on the Jacksonville Jaguars. But much different competition level today. Cleveland is in their eyesights here. Opened up at 11.5, 12s across the board. We're seeing 13.5s now here. 48.5. I liked what I saw out of Houston last week. And if it's just early in the season, I know they're going to have trouble stopping that, powerful offensive line, great running game, and also, a couple of big-time wide receivers on Cleveland. But I have to say, 13.5 seems a little bit too strong. 13.5 would have felt right last week if Jacksonville would have blown Houston out. The fact that they were competitive last week and look good doing it, I think they can stay within 2 touchdowns here. And also, psychologically here, if you're taking a look at the Cleveland Browns, they should have won last week. They know they should have won. They'll come home. You can roll your helmets out and beat the Texans here. Maybe a backdoor cover. Tyrod Taylor's a veteran, Kyle. I'm going to take the 13.5 in this game.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. Look, you're not taking double-digit spreads in week 2 unless you can make a case for the team getting the points. That's the only way you could do this year. You're absolutely insane to take 2 touchdown spreads in week 2. I don't give a damn who it is. If you want to back Cleveland, back them in the first half. I don't mind that. The 6.5 in the first half. If they're up by a touchdown, I think that makes a lot of sense. But I'm with you. I would take the points with Houston here. Now, of course, we're team total guys here. That Texans team total, I have it circled over 16.5 at minus 135. I mean, even if they don't cover the 14, you've got to think they got to get to 17 points. They're going to be throwing the ball coming from way behind. There's jokes for that out there in the chat box. But there we go. We got to throw one of those in there. We got to have some damn fun on a Sunday morning. And don't worry, people. The big mimosas will be back week 3. The giant mimosa will be back week 3. As far as prop goes in this one, Austin Hooper, big part of the passing game last week. I like what I saw there. Over 2.5 receptions, minus 143. He should get the three receptions today relatively easily. Seemed like every time I turned around last week, it was Austin Hooper. I like what I saw out of that last week. I would take the Texans full game, Cleveland first half, but for me, it's the team total. The Texans over 16.5 makes a ton of sense at minus 135.
I think it does. I like where we're going here because I do think more points are going to be on the equation today. But taking a look at stopping Kareem Hunt and also Nick Chubb is going to be a Herculean effort here for the Houston Texans, if they can even do that. Jeff, looking at this game, high total. This is one of those games we talk about, right? Week 1 to week 2, overreactions. One team not as good, one team not as bad. But I have to say, Houston wasn't bad last week. Houston's actually really good. What are your thoughts on this game here?
Yeah, put up 37 points, remember. This offense had no trouble moving the football. Yeah. And that's why I'm surprised by you folks, you two. Why not just bet the over in this game, right? If we figure that Houston can get to 20, right, which I think they can, I think the Browns, if there's one knock on this defense, maybe it is in the secondary. Again, Ronnie Harrison, he was knocked out of the game because of that ridiculous ejection, by the way. How does he get ejected? But the coach that started the fight gets to stay in the game.
Stupid.
Explain that to me. And did he get, by the way, it was Greg Lewis, the old Eagles wide receiver, who's now a coach there for Kansas City, Jeff. Like, what? First of all, I could see if they missed it during the game, but why doesn't that coach get a game suspension, like a $50,000 fine for putting his hands on another player? I don't understand it. I don't
understand it either. I was blown away when I saw it live. Why does he get to stay in the game, but Ronnie gets ejected? Then Ronnie gets hit with a fine. I would lean towards the over in this game. Again, we know Houston is, I think, going to get to 20. I'm in belief that you look at the Browns team total, 30.5, 31. I kind of had them pegged 30 to 34. This game kind of screams, 31 It's like 31-21, 34-17,
Yep.
34-20, something like that. I don't think the Browns will have any pushback from the Texans, particularly in the secondary. But I think that the Texans can score. You mentioned Tyrod Taylor. He can still move the football, guys. Brandon Cooks, they got some guys.
Yeah.
Veterans is what you need, because if you take a look at a rookie going on the road, you say, okay, man, maybe they get bounced around. But you're talking about a guy that can use his legs as well. 3rd and 4, pick up the first down with your legs, not all in the pocket, because we know Cleveland's got a pretty devastating pass rush here, but you have a guy that can maybe escape that and make some plays with his feet. That's certainly going to be big in that environment here. Let's keep moving forward as we go. Cincinnati and Chicago. Joe Burrow and Andy Dalton. Interesting line movement in this one during the week. FanDuel Sportsbook here. How about opening at a 4.5-point favorite on the early number, now down to 1.5. There are some 2s still left out there, but it looks like it is going to be a competitive game, and that's what we anticipated here. I see the over-under across the board at 44.5. Look, I have one of my favorite wagers of this week is going to be the Cincinnati team total over 20 at minus 160 at the Caesars Sportsbook. I think they get to 20 points, but I have to be honest with you here. I think Chicago wins this football game and wins in a close one. One of those, 24-21 type battles, somewhere both of these teams approach 20 points, but I do think the Bears have a slight edge here over Cincinnati, but I bet Cincinnati's team total to get this one done. Also, Kyle, looking at this game, Joe Mixon, anytime touchdown, minus 105. I punched that ticket up as well. So in on a couple things here, but love the Cincinnati Bengals to move the football with that offense. Joe Mixon, I like what I see there. I just need that offensive line to perform. Give Joe Burrow a clean pocket for most of this game. He'll make some plays with those wide receivers. How are we looking at this game between Cincinnati and Chicago from your angle?
Yeah, well, I think the Bengals are live dogs. Absolutely. Look, this is not the same dominant, devastating Bears defense. Yes, Khalil Mack's very, very good, but outside of that, that secondary is really bad. I mean, we're talking about guys like Jalen Johnson. Marquise Christian gave up over 1.2 fantasy points every single route he was targeted last week. I mean, they absolutely smashed Chicago in the slot, did the Rams with Kupp, etc. I'm nervous. I like to pick on Andy Dalton, right? I never love betting Andy Dalton. He's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever watched play, especially on primetime. But the one place where Andy Dalton is good is these early window games at home against an opponent they're favored over. And it's his old team, so it's a little bit of that red rifle revenge tour here. So this game is really hard for me to pick a side. I'm with you. I took the Bengals team total over 20.5 at minus 140. I think both teams can score here. I like the over 44.5. I think that's a little bit low. Neither of these defenses inspire a lot of confidence, even though the Bengals beat the Vikings last week, which was brutal to me, absolutely brutal. And that's what the hell I get for taking that moron Kirk Cousins on the road against anybody. But they still gave up a ton of yards. They still gave up points. That secondary still has holes up and down the secondary. Both teams should be able to score here. I like the over 44.5. And I love me some Bengals team total over 20.5. I'm with you. And for the prop, I took Joe Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 143. I think throws a couple touchdowns today.
Yeah, I think it makes sense here. Also, Jeff, looking at last week here, the Bears did pick up 24 first downs against the Rams. It wasn't if they went 3 and out every single possession here, so they would have moved the ball. You get a slight downgrade per se, right? Nice little joke there between the Rams defense and lining up against Cincinnati. From your perspective here, do you think it's enough to take that slight road dog here in Cincinnati, or do the Bears say, hey, our fans are going to be all over us by the third quarter if Andy Dalton's in there and we're down a touchdown?
Yeah, I think the spread's very coin flippy. I don't have much interest in it. I will say this, Donnie and Kyle. I think they're still pricing the Bears as if this is 2-3 years ago with their totals they have this vaunted defense and they have a quarterback that can't move the football. There are two things that have changed with this Bears team. They don't have a good defense anymore, and they have a quarterback that actually can move the football. Say what you want about the Red Rocket. Keep in mind, last year, he absolutely lit up the Cincinnati Bengals, 30-7. Remember that game? Absolutely. Filled in for our boy Dakota Prescott. I think this guy can move the football at any rate. I know Chicago Bear fans want to see the rookie, but at the end of the day, these offenses, again, another thing to keep in mind here, these offenses in week 1, 10th and 12th in plays per game. They moved a little bit quicker tempo-wise. I think both defenses are overvalued, particularly Cincinnati. That defense is, at the end of the day, they played well last week and still gave up 24 points. I don't have a lot of confidence in either defense. I think this total is just a bit too low. I think Kyle made a good point there. I kind of had it first to 24 wins. Kind of seems like 27-24 to me. Two pretty damn good quarterbacks. And I know Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are going to move the football.
Yeah, I am looking, obviously, since having a wager on this game, but it could be either way for me. I just want to say if the Chicago Bears don't win this football game, I don't know when their wins are coming from and when they just turn it over to Justin Fields. But again, we've all probably prefaced this at one time or another. You're talking at an ownership group with a 98-year-old grandmother running everything here. And but the worst part about it is it's not so much that she's actually making like the day-to-day decisions, but the people making those decisions are only in it for themselves. They messed up Mitchell Trubisky. They mortgaged the future again to get another quarterback. So they're trying to buy their time to see if Fields work out. And to anybody who's a Chicago Bears fan, I kept the same energy in the offseason. Justin Fields would be much better off when they fire the entire front office and coaching staff and get them a real coach and a real general manager. That will help. So them trying to preserve their jobs here by getting another quarterback, saying, well, if we're competitive here and Justin Fields comes out, because the same thing we saw at Houston, right, with Deshaun Watson gets hurt and he goes, I need Bill O'Brien as my coach. Well, that's the stupidest move Deshaun Watson has made outside of, his off-the-field issues per se, because all he had to say is, everybody knows Bill O'Brien stinks, and so do I. He would have got a top-flight coach, whoever he wanted in here, but he hitched his wagon to Bill O'Brien and rode it right off the cliff.
This is the issue, Donnie, and I know you guys will agree here. The biggest developmental piece of a young quarterback in the NFL is the right coach, okay?
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And this coach, Matt Nagy, isn't good enough. Okay, he isn't. He should have been fired. You have a new regime, a new quarterback coming in, but instead it's we don't want to upset Matt. Who cares about Matt? Get him out of here. He's not good enough, and this is the problem with this team and their development. I like Dalton, but if you're going to draft a quarterback, let him play.
Yeah, and they will let him play sooner than later, it seems, and we'll know today. Yeah. If Dalton puts on a decent performance and win the football game, that'll buy him a couple more weeks. But I also think that Fields should be on sooner than later, but it's not as if he's starting behind a good offensive line. You don't want the kid bad habits where he runs every play. Yes, he can because he's talented, but over the long term of a career, you don't want those habits kicking in here. I'll tell you who might be running all day long today. How about this next one? 275, 276. The Vegas Raiders go into Pittsburgh to play Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. -5s across the board, -5.5 now. A couple key injuries coming up here on defense, particularly for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But they should be loaded for bear up front in their front four and their front seven to get pressure on Derek Carr and that weak offensive line that's even weaker with injuries here. Tough spot for the Las Vegas Raiders to come into Pittsburgh. And I got to tell you, that line tells you everything here. And the biggest reason why this line is here is not because Joe Hayden's not going to play or Bush isn't going to play. It's because we're seeing the same exact thing, Kyle, that we saw from Ben Roethlisberger last year. He looked terrible week one. He looked terrible down the stretch. I don't care about his 30-pound weight loss and new offensive core and new offensive line. If he can't throw the football, they are not going to be a very good football team this year. End of story. And they're going to waste a historically talented defense.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I think this is probably for me my least favorite game on the entire card. I don't want to be holding the bag with Big Ben, but I certainly am pretty nervous about taking Derek Carr on the road against this defense. Now, he looked great week one against the Baltimore defense that we thought was going to be really good. They probably still will be pretty good. I don't want to overreact too much to week one there. Of course, they did lose Marcus Peters. It was just a bad week for Baltimore all around, right? Just an emotional week, losing their running back, losing their best corner. A lot of stuff happening. The Steelers defense looked really, really good against a really good offense in Buffalo, right? So I get the line. I understand why the Steelers are favored. Do I trust them enough after what I saw last week? You and I talked about it. I went back and rewatched that Steelers-Bills game. They should have been blown off the map. They looked absolutely god-awful. The one encouraging thing is Najee Harris was the only running back in the league last week to play every offensive snap. He played 100% of his snaps, and he looked good in the second half. So if Pittsburgh is able to finally commit to the running game, stop this nonsense with the, second and a half drop and these little screen passes to Deontay Johnson that go through his hands and fly off into the sidelines. Maybe the Steelers can establish something here. The key for the Steelers, you got to stop Darren Waller, right? I mean, 19 targets in week one. It's an astronomical number. I can't remember the last time I saw a tight end, if ever, with 19 targets in a game. This one was really tough for me. I didn't make an official play on it. I would lean the Steelers just because they're at home and I don't want to back Derek Carr on the road, but it makes me very, very nervous. The 46.5, both teams should be able to score. I don't mind the over 46.5 in this game. For the props, I went Hunter Renfrow over 3.5 catches at -160, 9 targets in week one, played 57% of the offensive snaps. He's going to have a nice matchup. You mentioned no Joe Hayden. The other guys in this Pittsburgh secondary, Trey Norwood, Cam Sutton, that doesn't inspire fear in anybody. So although, yes, Minkah Fitzpatrick's back there and that front seven's really good, you might have some holes here in the slot in the secondary. I think Renfrow gets over those 3.5 catches.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs down also. Key
Yes,
injury here
huge
for
injury.
Oakland. So they're gonna put a lot of the onus on Carr, quarterback, Jeff, and that's not necessarily a good thing because that pass rush is coming. It's going to be loud in Pittsburgh this weekend. And also, I do have a same game parlay at the FanDuel Sportsbook, one of those where they give you a $20 bet, no matter what happens, they give you $10 back. So I went Chase Claypool touchdown, Chase Claypool over 48.5 yards, and Najee Harris to gain at least 50 yards rushing this weekend. And I actually bet they had the other one at FanDuel, which is a pretty good one here. I think it's like up to $50. Bet 3 different wagers. They'll give you the 50 back if they lose. So they have some. You guys, if you're not using every one of these sports books, you can just bet free basically every single week for a little bit of money if you wanted to, and every little bit adds up here. But one of my prop bets I took in this game, Chase Claypool over 45.5 receiving yards, which rose this morning, and I took it again at the 48.5. Jeff, I know you're big on this game with the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Some key injuries on that defense. What are you looking at today between the Raiders and the Steelers?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in this game, to be real honest. I think the first thought is, look, I'm going to fade a team off of an emotional win that I got to tell you, I don't know if they fully deserved. I got to tell you, the Ravens were hideous in the second half. Yep. Lamar Jackson, he couldn't make throws I think I could make, to be real honest. It's hard to watch this guy play long term. You look at the Raiders, guys, let's put this into perspective. Last year, the only starter that will play on that offensive line today, Colton Miller, a 2-year starter. No Denzel Good, Incognito's out. They had 3 linemen leave already to begin with. Leatherwood's a rookie. I'm a bit concerned against that defensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers on that offensive line. And when that breaks down, they're not going to run the football today. They don't have anybody in that can run the football. Derek Carr, Messi. And let's just be honest with ourselves, guys. Keith Butler, one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. I know they're not going to have Bush. They're not going to have Joe Hayden, but still some solid guys in the back. We know that pass rush can get there. It's very tough to play in Pittsburgh. And Big Ben's old. I get it. He almost looks like the clock statue as opposed to an actual player, but
true.
Does have some of the best receivers in the NFL, very undervalued players. They don't drop the football. I just have some real concerns about the Raiders coming off an emotional win that I don't know if they deserve. Now you got to go on the road to the East Coast. I played Pittsburgh at 5. I thought I was getting a great price. I think this move down is because of the secondary issues. I like Pittsburgh here. I think they win this game 27-17.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this one, but you're going to get a lot of pay, which may be good for the over here, obviously, with some of those injuries, and you're probably going to be locking in that running game, but it should be interesting to watch here. I'll tell you another really good one here down in South Florida, Buffalo, Miami, Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa. Looking across the board here, threes, primarily 3.5s now across the board, 47.5 to 48 on the total line. I got to tell you, like during the week, Will Fuller not playing and just disappearing. It's just so Will Fuller, it hurts. I mean, the guy finally stays healthy last year, gets popped for roids, and then he's suspended the first game. Like, oh, he's coming back, and he just disappears like a magic trick on Wednesday. And they don't even know when this guy's coming back. And he was supposed to be one of those key ingredients to open up the field. So now it gets a little bit tougher for Tua in this ball game. Now, is Will Fuller the end-all be-all? Absolutely not here. But during the week, if it's the 3.5 number I'm looking at, weeks 1 and 2 so hard. I'm going to go a little contrarian here and take the Miami Dolphins in this football game. Do I love it? Absolutely not. Do I think the Buffalo Bills should win it? Yes. Do I have Buffalo Bills futures to win the Super Bowl, AFC, and Josh Allen to be MVP? I do. But just capping week to week, I don't know how excited I am for the Buffalo Bills after what I saw last week, if they can just get some semblance of a running game in this game. But also, the one prop bet I took in this one, Cole Beasley, under 20.5 yards for his longest catch, Kyle.
Oh, I was about to say for the game, what the hell is going on here? Because I went the complete other route. Well, and it's the only advantage. So this matchup actually doesn't line up beautifully for Buffalo. Look, they're not going to have a running game. They never will have a running game, especially with those two backs, Singletary and Zach Moss. It looks like will play this week. They don't commit to the run. Their running game is Josh Allen. I mean, let's just call it what it is. They're going to throw the ball a ton. The problem with this matchup is Miami might have the best 1-2 punch on the outside in Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. It's a tough matchup on the outside. They do have a good matchup in the slot. Nick Needham in the slot over Cole Beasley. That's why I took Cole Beasley over 4.5 catches at -140. Look, he had 13 targets in week 1, and it's kind of a similar situation. Pittsburgh line, they had Joe Hayden last week. Their weakness was in the slot. That's what Buffalo's going to have to go to. But I got to tell you, I don't see a lot of points either way. Do I think the Bills win? I do. Do I feel good enough that they win by a touchdown? This game could be a greasy one, one of those 20-19 type games here. I like the over. I smashed the under, under 47.5 earlier in the week. I don't see a lot of points in this game. So let's also remember all of these games in Florida, there's going to be a little bit of rain there. So you could have a soggy field. It's going to be hot, humid, muggy, and rainy in Miami. I don't see a lot of points being scored. I like the under here. The Bills should win, but I don't trust them enough to win by a touchdown. So I stayed away from the sides. Tough spot. I think both teams struggle with the defense. Give me the under in this game and Beasley over 4.5 catches.
Yeah, that usage rate on Josh Allen doesn't look like rain's really in the forecast there, but it will be hot and muggy, no doubt about it here, Jeff. As we take a look, Buffalo, who I thought, same as Kyle, I watched that film and I was just saying, I don't know how it's not 24-0 at the half with a complete blowaway, but credit the Pittsburgh Steelers last week for hanging around. The Buffalo Bills starting out 0-2, not on a lot of people's visions here for the 2021 season. How are we looking at this game, Jeff, between Buffalo and Miami from your angle?
Yeah, Donnie, when you look at trends, a lot of people use these idiotic trends that don't mean anything 10 years ago. They just don't mean anything. But there are some trends that I think are important, two of which are what happened last year and quarterback stats, two of which trends that I like. One trend to keep an eye on, dating back to last year, Miami's covered 9 of 10 at home. This is a very good team against the spread, particularly when catching points. I agree with Kyle. This is going to be a terrific, I think, defensive battle back and forth. You've got two good secondaries, one of which in Buffalo that I was a little disappointed with last year. I got to tell you at times, I think they come to play today. We know Miami's going to bring it on that end. Shoddy quarterback play on one side a lot of the time with Tua Tagovailoa. I thought this was a tough game, to be real honest. We know favorites are going to start coming in. They didn't come in week 1. We know that's going to kind of shake out. But again, you look at Buffalo gaining a lot of public steam today. Again, I like this guy, Brian Flores. I think he's a terrific coach. Yep. It's going to be a great chess match back and forth. Weapons on both sides. I stayed away from this game. Gun to my head, lean Miami at home, but that's just because they've been so good in that building.
There you go. No, you're right. It's tough to go down there. They play them in that heat and humidity here. I didn't like what I saw last week. And also, it's a little bit underrated. The New England Patriots game last week versus the Miami Dolphins. Everybody's looking towards Mac Jones and how great he was and all that, but it's still the Dolphins that won that football game.
Right.
Brian Flores is a really good head coach. You know what I mean, Jeff? Like the whole narrative is like, wait, was it 45-10 where they got blown? No, they won the football game. They forced a fumble at the end of the game.
I talked to a guy I know that's a Dolphin fan, and he said to me he thought that Tua Tagovailoa didn't even play well. I said, you won. He said, I know, but I don't think we played too good. Yeah. I think there's a lot more. This Miami team is solid, man. I think they're a fringe playoff team. Buffalo, do I think they lose 2 in a row? No. You can make cases for both sides. I just think Miami seems to always be in these kind of games. And I think the 20-19 call is very interesting. I could see this 2017, 21-20, something like that. Yeah. It's going to be a good old AFC East battle.
I agree. And let me just touch on, I guess there is no rain in Miami.
Oh, here we go, Kyle. Yeah,
Donnie's favorite weatherman leading me astray. Remember, I'm just a freaking deputy, okay? I don't know what the hell's going on in Miami. I'm just reading Donnie's favorite weatherman always leaving me.
Look, you usually can't go wrong in Miami when you just say it's going to rain there because it usually rains every day, but a little bit later in the day. Yeah. So I can't.
By the way,
if you didn't look at the weather and you just say it's going to rain in Miami, I'm going to trust you on that.
By the way, as well, can we stop with this whole? Not that I'm coming at you, Kyle, but can we stop at the whole rain is so important? Like it's wind, rain, heavy rain. Look, scattered stuff in Florida happens. You don't want it. It happens, though. Do yourself a favor. Understand weather. That's important in sports betting. Look up what scattered means. Look up summer weather, all that stuff. Very important. Rain doesn't kill an over-under. Just remember that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it certainly doesn't.
Right.
Rams, Colts, Stafford, Wentz here. Oh, boy. And I loved when I saw Xavier Rhodes out today because that starts to light up the Christmas tree here for me for the Rams. And I do have one of those plays over 23.5, minus 170 sitting here at the Caesar Sportsbook. They'll get to 24 points. I'm not worried about that at all. I just need the Colts to be a running mate for me today. But looking at Carson Wentz and a 47.5 to 48 across the board as a total. Lines at 4.5. And I technically agree with that. The Colts are a very good football team, but they're got a 10-bell performance last week out of Seattle. They lost that game. they're getting a team that's very good once again and one of the NFC East leaders to start the season in the Los Angeles Rams. Will be tough on them to win this football game. Am I looking to lay the Rams -4, -4.5? Not necessarily, but I do think we probably will get points in this game, particularly from the Rams' perspective here for myself, Kyle. And also, taking a look here, a nice little in-game or parlay prop here. How about this one? Cooper Kupp to score 75 yards and the Rams to get a W plus 180 today for me, Kyle.
Good one. That's a nice one. And look, that Colts secondary is banged up. TJ Carey's going to be out there. It wasn't terrible when he played with the Browns, but I mean, as close to terrible as you can be without being terrible. Kenny Moore, I don't know why people think Kenny Moore is so good. He gets torched every single week in the slot. And then, of course, Rock Ya-Sin, who wouldn't make any other roster other than this one here. So the Rams are going to be able to throw the ball here. I too took the Rams over 23.5. I got it at -165 at BetMGM. So how about that? Getting the extra 5 cents on Donnie right there. Dude, put that in your verified check mark.
You're absolutely right, because when I took it, I saw that a little bit later, because I told you guys I'm primarily going to be Caesared up, and you saw my tweet yesterday morning, and that's one of the reasons I said that was because now wait a second, I got a running mate with Team Talk. I got 2 balls. Just don't shut us down. Remember back in baseball season, William Hill, we beat the hell out of him for 2 weeks ago. Enough. If they take away my all totals, I'm off. I won't do any more shows, Kyle. Go ahead.
We're just going to have to start not giving them out on the show and like secretly tweeting them out or something. I don't know what the hell we have to do here, but look, it's going to be hard. The Colts have a great front seven. The Rams have a great front seven. The defense is going to be a lot of fun. That matchup on the line, Aaron Donald versus Quentin Nelson. You got probably the best guard in football against the best defensive lineman in football. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I just don't know how that Colts secondary keeps up with this Rams passing game. I do expect them to score a lot of points. It's one of my favorite plays. It will be one of my best bets. The Rams over 23.5. Do I want to lay the 4.5, 5 point? No, I don't. I don't want to touch it. Not with a 10-foot pull on the road, just too many. It kind of feels like a trap right there. I do think the Rams win. The Colts should be able to keep it close. I don't hate what I saw of their offense once they got going a little bit last week. But I like that Rams team total. I'll be stunned if they don't get to 24 points with all those holes in the secondary. And the one prop I took in this game, Nyheim Hines, played 45% of the snaps last week. That's about what you're going to get from him. With the Rams scoring and the Colts needing to throw the ball, he was targeted 8 times. In week 1, I got him over 3.5 catches here, -115, getting a nice number on it as well. I think Nyheim Hines easily hits 4 catches.
All right, Carson went to the Colts here. Jeff playing against, hey, Rams already won the Super Bowl compared to last week, beating the best team in the world, the Chicago Bears. Is this an overreaction, Jeff, on the Rams last week? And does Frank Reich and his squad say, we ain't going 0-2?
Yeah, I don't think it's I think the Rams are just really good. I mean, offensively, they're really good. Defensively, they're really good. Matt Stafford is just what the doctor ordered for that offense. They're going to score a lot of points and not give up a lot of points. I want to kind of highlight, though, it seems as if, to me, the Colts are nearing that breaking completely as a defense. I really worry. Darius Leonard didn't practice much this week. We know, Donnie, he's kind of the captain of that defense. They've got a young pass rush. Are they going to be good? I think. I like Kwity Paye and guys like that. But you mentioned it, Kyle. That secondary, TJ Carey, I mean, Rock Ya-Sin, Temple legend, but not a real good NFL player. Yeah. I have some real concern about them being able to stop this LA Ram team. Now, you know what I hear from a lot of you folk, 2 of you folks today on this panel? I hear a lot of juice being drank between you two. Yep. 26.5 is a fine number for this game on the Rams. I'll believe
We're cowards, Jeff.
I know.
We're all cowards.
It's all good. Hey, get the best number. That's important. But when it comes to 26.5, pretty good number as well. Staying under that 27, 28.
Sure.
I think the Rams go high 20s here. I think this Colts defense is getting closer to breaking. I think they're going to break. We're going to need Carson to have to score, and I think he can in this game. I don't really care much about the side. It's a heavy bet side if you like the Rams. Just remember that. Maybe just look towards the team total and say, I don't really care what they do on defense. Just get into the high 20s. I think they do.
Yes, and I think we have a pretty good performance here from Frank Reich and Carson Wentz also. Even though they're down a wide receiver, they're going up against a good defense. Still a dome team. Frank Reich's one of the best schemers in the NFL. And Yoss is a really good schemer as well. That's Sean McVay on the opposite side. So if you're coming into the game questioning what the game plan is going to be on either team, this ain't the game for you. They're going to have some pretty good, things going on both sides of the football in a dome.
Seems quickly like the Colts are just missing a receiver. They need one more playmaker, and I don't think they have it. Their receivers did nothing last week. Nothing. Their tight ends.
What you're hoping for is Campbell healthy, and then you're going to get T.Y. Hilton back in a couple of weeks. That should open up. And again, you're not going to play
You mean
the
Zach
better
Pascal's
teams
not going
in
to the Pro
division
Bowl? I
either.
don't understand. Zach
This
Pascal-
group
I don't know, he might.
This group should have gotten a receiver in the NFL draft. There were some good ones here, or did something in free agency. I just don't think they have enough weapons. The defense is very close to breaking. I worry about them long term if they don't fix that.
Yeah, we'll see if they get healthy here. Let's get to the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, boy.
Garoppolo and Hertz here in Philly. 49s across the board. Some 49.5 still out here, but also seeing DraftKings plunging through that 3-point number, going to -2.5 at a -115. I have to say, this has been a San Francisco Eagles line to watch all week long. And I was saying to myself, if that line finishes at 3, stone cold Eagles performance today. Now, also, Kyle, as we take a look, we're Eagles fans. Me and Jeff, you are a 49ers fan. But looking at this game, who is the real team here? The 49ers, who beat the hell out of, don't forget the final score. The Niners destroyed the Detroit Lions here. Don't get it twisted. The Philadelphia Eagles destroyed the Atlanta Falcons. Who's who and what's what? I think I like the fact that the Eagles are at home here with a full crowd, but still a young coaching staff here. And Kyle Shanahan, to me, Kyle, the single best coach in the NFL, who'll have a scheme ready for that Eagles defense.
Yeah, now I will say this. Even when the 49ers defense was completely healthy, which they're not right now, they still had problems with mobile quarterbacks. Look at their games against Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. They do struggle a little bit with mobile quarterbacks. Most good pass rushes do, right? Yeah. Because it just tires them out. They're chasing the guy all over the place. Then you have to start rotating guys in, and that leaves holes in the running game. And the 49ers gave up the second most fantasy points in the league to running backs last week. The Detroit Lions scored the second most fantasy points as a team for running backs against this 49ers defense. That makes me nervous. Back-to-back on the road. Yes, you should bet your entire bankroll on the Jets to win outright, obviously. I mean, obviously, that's what you should do every single week. But man, I love that Jets pain. This game makes me nervous. Do I think the 49ers are a better complete team? I do. Do I like the idea that Josh Norman is starting for them today? I do not. That makes me very, very nervous. There's just too many injuries there. Look, I wore green today to jinx your Eagles. I hope the Niners beat the living hell out of the Eagles. I think the 49ers are a more complete team. They do have more solid weapons around, but I would have preferred this game in San Francisco, this back-to-back road trip. You saw the article today on ESPN that it's not been bells and roses and, raindrops and roses and teardrops and kisses in Virginia. It's been a struggle for the 49ers on this road trip. That makes me a little bit nervous as well. The 49ers should get it done. You'll see the rookie Trey Sermon for the first time today. He's going to be active. Obviously, they lost Raheem Mostert last week. Makes me nervous, but I'm going to lean my Niners here. They're going to take. There's no way I'm going to sit with you two Eagles fans and take them over my 49ers. The Eagles can piss right off as far as I'm concerned. And look, I still have bad memories of 40-8 back in 1994. Charlie Garner and Randall Cunningham. It was one of the worst.
How about last
days.
year? You didn't have any bad ones last year either?
Yeah, I have a few bad memories of last year, but I blocked that out. I just started dealing with the 1994 game. I just started dealing with it. My prop for this game, I talked about the Niners struggle on the ground. I like that Miles Sanders, 5 targets last week and 15 carries. I got Miles Sanders to get at least 15 carries again at plus 100. If they're smart, they will give him the football. Watch that Niners defensive line. If they're not able to corral Jalen Hurts and they start getting tired, Eagles could run away with this one. But right now, I like the 49ers. More complete team, and I think that defense can get it done today.
All right, let's see what happens here, Jeff. 49ers, Eagles from your perspective. I actually have Kittle anytime touchdown plus 155. One of the individual props that I bet on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Also, Kittle over 68.5 receiving yards. Your thoughts today, Eagles, Niners?
Well, 2 things before I get into my thoughts. Kyle, word of wisdom. You cannot let your fandom get in the way.
I know that. I definitely know that. Trust me.
Second of all, I hear we're on down in K-Lot and at Jetro at the Eagles tailgate. Shout out to those folks. Shout out to my people that are watching. My boy Bob's checking the show. All my people, all my Eagles fans, stand the hell up. But I want to talk quickly about the Eagles. And many people know, I tell it like it is with this team. I was super impressed. I thought they were flawless offensively in week 1. Now, again, it was against Atlanta. I got to tell you, though, I don't know if the Niners are going to put up too much either. The key in this game is the best part of the Niners defense is on that front line with Bosa and Armstead. The biggest tonic for that is a great offensive line, which the Eagles seem to have. I want to attack vertically, Verrett's replacement, some of the guys in that secondary. Say what you want about the Lions. They put up 33 points. Now, whether that was just they gave up or whatever, I don't know. I think the Eagles can move the football down the field. We have to start talking about this Philadelphia Eagles team is pretty good. They have a good defense. They have a good pass rush. They have really good pieces on offense, and they make adjustments, which is the biggest key to what the regimes before this team didn't do and the regime that does now. No more sticks defense, no much of that nonsense anymore. There's a lot of things that have been corralled. I took the Eagles, which is not something I do a ton, but when I see value, I take them. Greenlaw out, Mostert out, Verrett out, a lot of people out. You're on the road, off of another road game. You had to practice in parts unknown. Just a lot going against them here. Yeah. I think the Eagles get the job done, and I think Kyle made an astute point. If you can shut that defensive line down, Jalen has time to throw the football. They will win, and they will win handily. 31-21 Eagles.
Ouch.
All right, there we go. And also, by the way, at the Caesar Sportsbook, you want to get one of these nice wagers in. It's a max of $25, but it's a plus 100. Jalen Hertz over rushing and receiving prop 259 yards today. So something decent there that I participated and played in. I think he's able to run for at least 50 to 60 yards. And yes, he's going to throw for over 200 yards today. I do believe that. Now that we've spent some time on that, we need to hit the speed burst a little bit harder here, but also a very easy game to do that with. 283, 284, Denver and Jacksonville, Bridgewater versus Lawrence. Minus 5.5 to 6s across the board. Back-to-back road games here for the Denver Broncos. I did circle the Denver Broncos on my card today because both myself and Kyle, Jeff, we pick every single game on the side just to have it, a pick on each one. I still have Denver. I still believe in that here, but also taking a look at Trevor Lawrence's completions over 22.5 in this game. I think he's going to have to throw close to 40 times. I think we'll have a decent day through the air, but I do think that the Denver Broncos will win this football game, but not in love with this one. Quickly, Kyle, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Broncos team total over 23.5, and there's more of that coward juice at minus 165. I brought it down under 24.5 just because I'm feeling like a coward today. It's been a long week. But look, there's no way you can back Jacksonville in any way. They were the most unprepared team I watched on film last week, the worst coach team I watched on film last week. Urban Meyer has no business being in the NFL, had no clue what he was doing. The route combinations were absolutely atrocious. The defensive preparation, garbage. The Broncos are the side here. Bradley Chubb will play as well for Denver. That's a nice addition here. That secondary is vicious. You're not running the ball on this Denver defense. I like the Broncos. I like them quite a bit, and they should get to that 24 points relatively easily. Quickly, my prop is KJ Hamler in the slot, over 34.5 yards receiving at minus 115. Didn't play a ton of snaps last week. Now Jerry Jeudy's out. He's going to get those slot duties against Tyson Campbell. Give up over a fantasy point per route ran against last week. KJ Hamler should get there relatively easy. Broncos are bust for me, and I like that team total at 23.5.
All right, there you go. Looking at this game, Jeff, your thoughts here between the Denver Broncos and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Very quick. The Denver Broncos defense, always very good. And there's one trend you need to know from today, one trend that actually matters. Donnie, you know who the best quarterback in the NFL that starts currently against the spread is? Teddy Bridgewater. In fact, listen to this. This is incredible. Last 25 road games, Teddy Bridgewater's been a quarterback in. He's covered 22 of them. That's 90%, folks. That's a win percentage no gambler has. Teddy does as a quarterback. 90% on the road. This guy is that good. He covers numbers. 6, little high, but the Jags are the worst team in the NFL. I really like Teddy. I think he is the tonic they need. I think they get the job done.
Yeah, maybe lower scoring too. Rain in the forecast there for Jacksonville.
27-13, Donnie.
Oh, sure there's rain. Is there anyone in Jacksonville?
We were in Florida. Yep, Florida rain. We'll be having it here. Patriots and the Jets here. Jones versus Wilson, two rookie quarterbacks here. Minus 3.5, minus 4.5 to open. Quickly surged this week as we see 5.5 across the board. Now 43.5. There's only one way to go in this game. I don't like betting rookie quarterbacks on the road, but the Jets are putrid. And Bill Belichick, why they scheme that destroys this team that's devoid of any weapons whatsoever outside of Corey Davis. I was actually hopeful, Jamison Crowder's back. That's going to help. Nope. Yeah, he's out this week. Same old Jets here. I don't bet team totals under, but whatever the Jets team total under is, it can't be low enough for me, Kyle.
Oh, you don't want that pain. So that's official. Donnie wants the over Jets team total. Send that out on Twitter. That's his official play this week. I took the Patriots over 23.5. Not super juiced up this time at minus 135. I think they score here. You're right. I know they made that little comeback at the end, et cetera, but that team outside of Jacksonville and maybe Atlanta, and I know Green Bay, I'm not counting Green Bay. That was just a fluky, weird-ass game. I'm not even counting what happened with them. Yeah. But the Jets were absolutely god-awful. I like how Mac Jones looked last week. I liked what the passing game looked like for New England and Damian Harris. They stuck with him. Let him carry the ball. I don't see any way the Jets defense stops the Patriots offense today, even though it's a rookie quarterback on the road. So I would lean the Pats on the spread. And my prop plays Nelson Aguilar over 47.5 yards, minus 115, 9 targets in week 1.
Kyle picked it up. I like that. I wonder why he did that, by the way.
I don't know what happened.
Jeff, taking your opinion here between the Patriots and the Jets. I do have Zach Wilson's pass attempts over 32.5 as a prop bet here because I think he's going to be throwing a lot since they will not have the lead in this one. At least I don't think so. Your thoughts quickly, Jeff, between the Pats and the Jets.
Yeah, I'm on the island like I was last week. I like the Jets more than other people do. I think they have an okay defense, to be real honest with you. I think they're pretty good against the run, and this is a rookie quarterback on the road. Now, remember, Donnie, Tony Romo says Zach Wilson was the next Patrick Mahomes. I got to tell you, I agree with him. I like the kid a lot. I think, and again, I don't love it as much as last week because no Becton Hertz. Crowder seems to never play. So, I lean Jets. It's actually down to 5.5, so it looks like some late money coming in on the Jets.
Yep.
There's some issues, though. Blake Cashman's out. I think LaMarcus Joyner's. They got some people out. So I'm going to stay away ultimately, but the Patriots are overrated. They just are. Bill Belichick doesn't win without Tom Brady. It's that simple. Find me a long-term stat to back it up that he does. He doesn't. I think the Jets hang around. Quarterback, rookie on the road, I'm not so interested. Patriots have no weapons, Donnie. If you're going to talk about the weapons that the Jets they have no weapons.
New England
either.
Looks like the greatest show on turf compared to the Jets' weapons, though.
I think so, yeah. That's why I just took the team total. I don't know who the hell's going to win.
Like
this
they don't
game.
have anything. It's Corey Davis and nothing.
Yeah, well, give me.
That's what I mean. I like
Michael
him, but outside
Carter
of that,
and Tevin Coleman. Oh boy, I mean,
we got Keenan Cole back today. Give him some.
Keenan Cole, not even good. He wasn't even good enough for Jacksonville to resign. For Christ's sake! Oh no,
Patriots overrated though, guys. I'm sorry.
I do tend to agree with that a little bit.
And I say the same thing, Jeff, on that. Rookie quarterbacks on the road. That's not the. I don't have a wager on this game, but
this number should be 4.5, not 6.
Agreed.
Minnesota, Arizona, Cousins and Murray. 4:00 starts here, and I know Kyle loves himself some Kirk Cousins here. 51s to 50.5s across the board. I'm actually interested in this because the lines really didn't move this week. As much as there's a lot of Vikings hate out here, it's not like that line went from 3.5 to 6.5 before game time. We'll see what it actually closes at. But I do think points will be scored in this football game. Thielen's receiving yards, I did bet over 65.5. I really like that prop bet, Kyle. Talk some thoughts here on Minnesota and Arizona.
Yeah, here's all you need to know. Kirk Cousins on the road against winning teams has a worse record than a guy with no arms against winning teams on the road would have. He's absolutely putrid against good teams on the road. I made a mistake backing him on the road because I didn't think the Bengals were all that good, and they're not. And he does enough to have big numbers, but he can't do enough to win the game. I love the Cardinals this week. I took the over in this game. I think both teams can hit their team totals. You get an alternate total on the Vikings over 20.5. It's at minus 175. It's juiced up. I didn't bet it because who wants to do that? I'm not that much of a coward. Okay, that's too far. But the Cardinals team total over 27.5 at minus 105. I think they get to 30 points in this one. That Vikings secondary we thought was rebuilt with Breland and Peterson. No, they look slow. And if you look slow today against this Arizona offense, you are going to get smoked. The one prop play I took, I got a low number here on KJ Osborne for the Minnesota Vikings. Played 85% of the snaps in the slot, had 9 targets in week 1. I got him over 2.5 catches at minus 130. I think he gets there, especially in the slot against Byron Murphy for Arizona. But I like the over in this game. I took the over 50.5 earlier in the week. I think both team totals are live. If I'm picking a side, got to take the Cardinals at home. You can never back Kirk Cousins on the road against a good team, ever.
All right, overreactions here, Jeff. Obviously, Minnesota lost to the Bengals last week, and then you saw, the greatest thing we've ever seen, I guess, was Arizona put them in the Super Bowl championship because they knocked out Tennessee and cleaned their clock. 3.5-point line here, 4-point line here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I played the over here in this game early. I don't know that Arizona has the capabilities to stop Jefferson and Thielen. When we look back to the game the other night, I mean, they still, the Titans couldn't do anything because they couldn't hold up any blocks. I don't think that the Arizona is as good as they looked last week defensively. You made a good point about Breland. He was torched in that game against the Bengals. I think both teams move the ball. Both teams have weapons. And surprisingly enough, Minnesota has always struggled with mobile quarterbacks. They're going to struggle here to get stops. But remember as well, Minnesota, we think of it as this run the football first type of team. 8th last week in plays per game. They were a lot quicker. Move the ball. We're playing from behind. I think they're going to have to play from behind here as well. I kind of had both teams mid to high 30s, 30s, 20s, I mean.
Yep.
I think it's like a 30-27 type of game. I took the over here up and down.
All right, quickly here. Arizona, Tampa Bay. Don't have to spend too much time on this game. 52s, 12.5. I do think Atlanta can stay in the number because it's a divisional game under, roughly around 2 touchdowns. But I have no way, shape, or form do I think the Atlanta Falcons win this game. I do have Matt Ryan's passing yards over 283 in this one because they're going to be down the entire way. He's got to throw his way out of it. That's the way I'm looking here, Kyle. Quick thoughts on this game for you.
Yeah, I'm not taking double-digit point spreads in a divisional game. It's just not going to happen. You don't want to hold that bag. If you want to bet Tampa Bay, take them in the first half. I don't mind that. I think they could be up a touchdown in the first half. Obviously, the Falcons looked absolutely dreadful. But I will say this. Now, Carlton Davis a little bit banged up. No Sean Murphy bunting. We saw the holes in that Buccaneers secondary that we talked about before the Thursday night game last week. And I think that secondary is vulnerable again this week, Donnie. Now, I will say my prop play of the day, you remember, Antonio Brown, Godwin, Gronk, they all went off. The one guy who was sort of left out of the mix on that offensive party on opening night was Mike Evans, over 56.5 yards, minus 115. They know it. They know they need Mike Evans, and he's got one of the best perimeter matchups on paper today against Fabian Moreau, who was absolutely torched by Devontae Smith last week.
What do you think, Jets? Falcons, as bad as they showed last week. Tampa Bay. Look, let's keep in mind, Tampa Bay is not exactly 41-3 over Dallas opening night. They should have lost that game. What are you thinking here, Jeff?
Yeah, they have some real question marks in their secondary. Very young. There are a lot of first and second year guys in that Tampa secondary. But can Matt Ryan throw the football downfield? I don't know if he's capable of it, to be honest. Yeah, this one was a complete pass for me. I try to give a pick on every game. I think gun to my head, I would lean on Tampa, but I don't have much on this game. It's one that I won't watch. I don't care about, and I will move on. There will be a lot of teasers with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in them today, though.
Oh, yeah.
Tennessee, Seattle, Tannehill, Wilson. Good matchup here in the Northwest. Some rain in the forecast there, Kyle, but there's no rain in the forecast all the time in Seattle. Minus 6.5 now showing up on the board. 6 is the primary number. 53.5 to 54s across the board. I think we get points, but I think we get a bounce-back performance here by the Tennessee Titans. They just missed my card here as an official play on a team total, but I do think they do some damage, but also I think Seattle does some damage as well. Tannehill over 1.5 touchdown passes at minus 113 is the way I went here, Kyle.
Yeah, and look, I just don't take Russell Wilson with spreads more than 3 points because he just doesn't cover. It's just plain and simple. It's always a close game with Russell Wilson. It will be till the end of time. Even the one-win Bengals, he beat them by 1 point. You can't trust him to cover spread. So I got the Titans here. I think they cover this. People are down on them. I know they looked bad last week, but this offense can score. Now, the problem is the defense stinks, so there is going to be points here. I agree with the over, and the prop I took was Tannehill over 21.5 completions. That's sitting at minus 125. They're going to have to throw the ball. Seattle's going to score. Tennessee needs to score, but I think they cover here. Russell Wilson does not cover full touchdown spreads. It just doesn't happen.
What are you thinking, Jeff? It can't be more of a low point for an opening day loss than the Tennessee Titans, and Seattle looked really good in beating down the Indianapolis Colts. Now they head back to a packed stadium up in Seattle. What are your thoughts on this game here?
Yeah, I talked to an old friend of ours, Spread Astaire, and he made a very good point about the Titans. This is a big game for them. We have to see if this offense is going to be the same with Todd Downing calling plays, because he made the point Todd Downing was a terrible offensive coordinator out in Oakland when he was there. This guy is a bad play caller. I know Mike Vrabel has more of the say, I would think, but are they the same offense? We'll see. This is the defense to attack, surely. You'd hope you get back on. Is that offensive line as good as we think it is? Donnie, I've learned over the years, I know Kyle mentioned about Russell Wilson. There's a lot of things Russell Wilson does do, though. His receivers seem to never drop the ball. You could throw the ball 8,000 yards ahead of them, and somehow they'll get this bionic arm and catch it.
Yep.
That's what they do.
Luck box, Jeff.
They are very much a luck box team. I just don't want to bet on this. I would expect the Titans to bounce back, but I got to wonder about their play calling. I don't know if Todd Downing's no Arthur Smith, put it that way.
All right, 2 games, 4 minutes here. Dallas and the Chargers. Prescott, Herbert in this game. Minus 3s across the board. 55 as a total, which is astronomically high. We're expecting a lot of you. Sometimes just like to fade that overall position here because it looks like the Dallas Cowboys, though, Kyle, putting out a feeder or a lead that says we're going to get back to running the football because when Dak throws it a lot, we don't win the football game. Yeah, good luck with that ball control today while you're trying to lean on that defense to stop anybody for the Dallas Cowboys. You need to score points here, Dallas. Don't get it twisted. Not hand the football off here, Kyle. Quick thoughts on this one.
Well, does that surprise you? Mike McCarthy is a moron. He's the second. He used to be the lowest IQ coach in football until Urban Meyer joined. So now he's the second dumbest coach in football. And I know people you should hear all the comments. Don't bag on the coaches. I don't know why there's these weirdos that love coaches, but you're just a weird guy.
Why? They're not doing their job.
Yeah. And those are just the guys that know exactly how many days there are until Christmas. One of those just weirdos that they make you drink eggnog at 8 a.m. But points, and more points. I got Keenan Allen over 80.5 yards receiving. That Dallas defense can't stop anyone. I expect a ton of points in this game. I don't know if that total can be high enough. They're going to have to throw the ball. I don't give a damn what they say. Too hard to pick. If I was picking a side, proverbial gun to my head, I would lean the Chargers at home here. But I think the over, even though it's 55, is probably still the play. Both teams may get in the 30s today.
Eckler receiving yards over 31.5 for me in this one, Jeff. What are you thinking about in this game between Dallas and the Chargers? Dallas going 0-2, or they fight back at that mini bye that they have where they take on the Chargers now?
It's a tough thing to do, especially with an offensive line within flux. DeMarcus Lawrence is out. That's a loss because when you look at the Chargers' offensive line, they're without Brian Bulaga, which is a loss. You have a backup there. That could help, but now it's kind of negated without Lawrence. I got to go against Kyle on one thing here. The whole world's on the over. We expect this to be 35-30. You know what is the tonic for a high-scoring game? A good defense. And I'm going to equate this yesterday. The Arkansas State Red Wolves are one of the best offenses in America. You know who they played yesterday? Washington. You know how many points they had? 3. A good defense shuts a good offense down. And I think the Chargers have one. I got a weird feeling, Donnie, RightSide, and Kyle. This is 30-24, and we just miss out on an over. Under 55.5. Okay. Again, I am jumping in to the water with sharks circling me. Yep. I just got to hope maybe I pet them and they go away.
And one missed field goal.
One missed field goal, extra point. That's all it takes.
Yes. All right, last game tonight, Kansas City and Baltimore. Big time game tonight. And boy, you don't want to get the Kansas City Chiefs when they're healthy and you are not, which the Ravens are. I know everybody. And usually contrarian me, like Baltimore or nobody. We have to pick each side. I'm not going with Baltimore, so obviously it's Kansas City. If Baltimore wins, it means Lamar Jackson went absolutely nuclear with 300 yards passing, 175 yards rushing on the ground, and 5 combined touchdowns. I don't see it happening here, Kansas City, for me, Kyle.
Yeah, it's tough, right? And Baltimore is definitely the best home team getting points this week. I mean, it's not even close, right? And so everything in your body says, how can I not take the points with a home dog, the caliber of Baltimore? But it scares the hell out of you. And I will say this, Mahomes doesn't cover a ton of spreads, especially last year. They did a couple years back, but it gets dicier and dicier. Lean Kansas City. I didn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it because I don't know what the hell I'm going to get out of Baltimore secondary after what I saw last week with Derek Carr. I do know that Lamar Jackson's going to have to run. I took over 70.5 yards rushing, minus 115. Anytime I'm getting that number under 80 yards, I'm taking the over for Lamar Jackson rushing yards. He's going to be running for his life. Kansas City stinks against the run. That is their kryptonite. Absolutely. Can Lamar keep it close? He can. I would lean Baltimore at home and the points, but way too nervous to take it.
Jeff, quick thoughts on this game on Sunday Night Football. It's a good one.
Yeah, I hate Lamar Jackson. I'll just say it. But I think there is a reason to believe he can move the ball. The Chiefs can't stop anybody either. Neither can Baltimore. This is going to be a fun game. I think this one, much better than the game last week we had to deal with. I told you I had props, guys, and I got 2 in this game.
Get it.
Same game parlay, boys. Plus 737.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
Travis Kelce to score a touchdown anytime.
Okay. Yep.
Patrick Mahomes to score a touchdown anytime. Parlay them together, plus 737. We know Travis is going to get one. That defense can't stop tight ends. I think Patrick Mahomes gets a little Super Bowl magic and gets in the end zone. But yeah, I think it's a fun game. I think the over probably has some value. I think we see a shootout here. 2 offenses that can move the ball. When is Bateman coming back? I need Rashad Bateman, the rookie out of Minnesota, to come back. But I think we see some points. I'll go over.
My favorite actor.
There you go. How about this? A nice little Sunday show, 58 minutes. We got you guys in and out. The big man on campus in that third chair. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe you guys in the chat box like it. Maybe you'll hit that like button here and watch it. I have over 400 people watching live throughout the entire show, which is awesome stuff here on a Sunday. But it is time for kickoff right now. We went over our best bets. We went over our prop bets. You guys should be rocking and rolling and ready to go in this game because you know what? In about 24 hours again, both Kyle and myself, you'll be opening lines on sportsbookreview.com. It never sleeps here on the channel with NFL action. We got you covered. For myself, Donnie Seymour, along with Kyle Purviance and Jeff Nadeau. Today, we were the NFL team on sportsbookreview.com. And as always, good luck on those wagers today.